Hello, I'm Dr. Jess Meek. I know what you're thinking. Doctor, yes. In the Dead Zone, the people are real and the characters they portray are real, even if it's a figment of one's imagination. Today, we will be looking at more strange occurrences in the Dead Zone. Me, I am a clinical physician in the Dead Zone. I'm here to report and observe all that seems to be out of whack in society. So let's dive right in, shall we? Good evening. Welcome to the Dead Zone. This is a place where the strange and unusual occurrences happen, a place where people exhibit the most outlandish and reckless behavior, a place that seems to be out of a scary sci-fi movie. It may even seem that you crossed into another dimension of time and space. No, folks, the Dead Zone is real, and the people that reside there are real, but mentally dead. Some are this way due to being naive. Others are this way because of a daily consumption of false and misleading information. Sadly to report, many are this way because of willful ignorance. We will attempt to resurrect these individuals from the Dead Zone. We will try to give them a regular dose of reality and a healthy diet of true and factual information. Soon, the brain-dead individual should reverse course and recover. The individual should be left with a thriving and thinking brain and escape the Dead Zone. Today's case study in the Dead Zone involves people who continue to suffer from Trump's derangement syndrome. President Trump's term in office is almost over, yet his haters still have not come to grips with his presidency. They continue to believe that his presidency is the worst thing that could have happened to America. However, contrary to popular beliefs of the TDS sufferers, Trump has done a wonderful job and is currently accomplishing tremendous feats. Let's review some overlooked facts. For one, he renegotiated the horrible trade agreements America was tied to with other countries. Now the market is fair and beneficial to America. Secondly, record low unemployment for blacks and Latinos, reducing the cost of taxes and regulations. The jobless claims are at an all-time low. The unemployment claims is the lowest in 5 decades. Lastly, the blue-collar jobs grew at the fastest rate in more than 3 decades. That is just a few of his accomplishments taken from a list of more than 289. With much dismay, the TDS victims still continue to believe in the sophistry on the left. Trump is a racist. Trump is a Nazi. Trump is an idiot. Trump is a fascist. Impeach Trump. Trump, Trump, Trump. On the other hand, the hope and change era left a lot of Americans hopeless and upset. Let's review why people gave up hope during the Obama administration. Obama forced more than 200 coal-fired plants to shut down. He cut funding to fight AIDS. This action was a bit ironic, seeing that he was supposed to be Africa's darling child. This continent has the most people suffering with AIDS. The Fast and Furious gun-running scandal put firearms in the hands of the cartels. His war on coal caused the middle class to lose more money due to soaring energy prices. Consequently, as a result of these policies, poverty has also soared to 50 million Americans, more than at any rate since the Census Bureau tracked poverty. People gave up looking for jobs. The wage gainers were mostly confined to the rich. That is just a few off the list of over 33. In the Dead Zone, if the TDS sufferers could have it their way, they would vote for Obama again so he can continue down his path of destruction. This is what happens in the Dead Zone. People can't seem to accept the truth, the facts, or deal with reality. No matter how much you try to get them to open their eyes to see the truth, they seem to double down on their unbridled hatred for Trump. They can't seem to deal with reality. Do you remember when the election results came in and the news announced Trump as the 45th president? TDS sufferers had a complete meltdown. Colleges had to bring in hot cocoa and coloring books to console their distraught students. Many actors said they were leaving the United States. We also had violent attacks taking place against MAGA supporters. There were also violent mobs known as Antifa out destroying property. Is it possible that all this hate directed towards Trump is because he ruined the sinister plans of the globalists? We know that Obama did not believe in the exceptionalism of America. He wanted to weaken her financially and militarily. Hillary was their choice. She would have picked up where Obama left off. She would continue to destroy the middle class and the military by policies she would get Congress to enact. She would continue to enrich herself under the guise of her foundation. Foreign countries just had to pay to play, and Hillary would grant them their request. America would become a nightmarish place. We should all be thankful that there is a God in heaven who at times intervened in the lives of men. Trump foiled the plans of the elite and put America back on a prosperous journey. Facts. People all over the world migrate to America because she is exceptional, despite some ugly spots in history. I don't know about you, but I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. We must not grow weary of trying to bring TDS sufferers from the brink of insanity. They are gearing up for the 2020 election with the hopes of bringing America to her knees. They have not realized that they are being used to help further the globalist agenda. Hello, Dr. Just Meek here. I am going to have a correspondent go out and interact with TDS sufferers, and you will see firsthand how these individuals are triggered at the very sound or mention of Trump's name. Good evening, correspondent CG here, reporting live at the heart of the epicenter where the TDS sufferers gather. We should encounter some TDS sufferers shortly, so please stay tuned.
What do you think about what they were saying on CNN with the Spike Lee and Trump altercation?
Oh, with Spike Lee, what he said at the Grammy?
Yeah.
I think he said what he had to say.
Yeah.
He said what he had to say. I mean, everything he said is true. You know, it's true. It's just like yesterday, you know, the guy said that Trump is a racist. He's a racist.
You think he racist?
Yeah, he racist.
You know what? I saw that and I read what it said on CNN. And you know, Trump is from Queens. So anytime somebody says something about him, he's going to counterpunch. I think they love to push the racial thing just because Spike Lee happened to be black.
No,
you know,
this was out way before Spike Lee.
No, I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying.
This was out by Trump way back in the day. My father used to do work for his father in New York. Because my father did plumbing, so he used to do work on his building. He knew old man Trump way back in the day. So we knew about Trump. We grew up knowing about the Trumps, you know what I mean? So it's for most New Yorkers, for people that live outside of New York, like, you know, down here in Texas, they don't know Trump. We do. We do. We grew up knowing this guy and the Trumps. You know, just because they say they're from New York, that don't mean they're not racist. We used to have race riots up there.
That's not the analogy people are drawing, that because you're from New York, you're not racist. It's just like every time that a situation arises today, if it's between a black person and Trump, they always try to draw the race thing. When in actuality, if you looked at every time somebody says something to him, he gonna say something crazy back to you, regardless whether you black or white. But every time it's a person black, they always have to say something about race.
We don't go by what Trump says. We go by what he do. We draw our conclusions off of his actions, not the words.
Yeah, I'm just talking about this recent This recent incident with Spike Lee.
Well, Spike
because
he said what he said. That he came from the heart.
But I was listening to the CNN correspondent, and the conclusion they were drawing is that, he's trying to say that black people have to catch up, but Spike Lee can't read. You know, he was gonna say something crazy about Spike Lee, whether he was black or white.
Well, you know, Trump made a comment. He said black people are not gonna vote for me. This years ago, he said black people are not gonna vote for me because they're too stupid.
Okay,
that's what he said. I mean, you can Google all these things. You can go back and find it in Google everything Trump has said in his lifetime because it's out there. You see it coming out of his own mouth. He said
a lot of the things I have Googled, and when you read everything in context, they always taking something out.
Well, you know, the man got an evil heart, period.
Just
you just don't have a good heart and target certain class of people. Because his father was a Klan member in New York. People don't know Klan is in New York too. Trump have an evil heart because you just don't do the things you do without having some kind of hole in your heart. Even on, you know, to separate families. That come back from the days of slavery.
What families did he separate?
At the border. All those kids now, they got 1,000 some odd kids that don't know that their parents is back in the country. And the kids
law was in effect when Obama was in office.
But they never separated families.
Yes,
like
they were.
No,
yes, they were.
No,
yes, they were. Yes, they were.
No, they didn't take the family and separated them where you fly the kids to another state. New York, Detroit, or whatever, and they found their mother and father here, and then sent them back to their country. They're being sued right now because all these kids.
That just didn't happen when Trump came in office.
It happened.
Those kids was being separated long before, and once they started pointing out since he came into office, then it was an issue. Yes, it was because once you cross
that's a policy that Trump and them came up with.
Once you cross the border, you are breaking the law. You are a felon.
These people didn't come over these people didn't come. They came at the port of entry. They was at the port of entry. ICE was separating these families, babies from their mothers.
I haven't seen that.
Well, you need to watch the news. You need to go ahead on.
Which news? CNN?
Whatever news is out there, pick up the paper.
So
because this has been happening.
You said that they were being separated at the port of entry.
At the port of entry.
The mothers from the kids.
Look out there. It's over. I mean, don't just take my word for it. Ask somebody else about it that's in here. And these kids are separated. They don't have they didn't document who belong to who. And it's still going on. I mean, they got over 1,000 some odd kids right now in America, and their mothers and fathers are in another country somewhere. They don't know how to find these people to get these kids reunited with their family. Yeah. It's a lawsuit going on right now. They suing the Trump administration because of that. Because they came up with that policy saying it's going to be a deterrent. They said we're going to use this as a deterrent.
No.
Yes, they did.
No.
Ask somebody. Don't take my word.
That law was already into effect. Yes, it was.
They took it 2.0. They took it 2.0. They took it 2.0.
No.
Because they came out and said it before they actually did it, start implementing the policy. They said they were going to do this. This was a policy that they came out in the news and said, this is what we're going to do.
Okay, Tony, I'm going to go and research it.
Research it.
But I doubt it because I heard that.
It happened.
I'm not talking about what they were doing. They were already separating the kids.
No, not like this. No, not like this.
It's exaggerated now.
No, it's not exaggerated. No, it's amplified. It's not exaggerated, it's amplified.
Yeah.
They took it 2.0. Okay. I'm talking about to the point where they didn't document. There was no record on where these kids or who these kids came from. That's the point. And you got all these kids sitting around, and and their parents is somewhere else.
The parent goes to jail. You can't.
No,
the kid can't.
No, they deported them back to their family
when they were separated. When they came across,
they have these kids sitting up in cages somewhere. Up there, they got kids in cages. You gotta get back into look at the news. I mean, you can't just say Fox or Breitbart or whatever is the only source of news, because you got to look at all the other news sources out there. And
I don't even use Breitbart or Fox.
Well,
I go to investigative journalists that go out there and that's actually on the scene.
Then Google them and find out what the Trump administration.
Yeah, they all on YouTube. You can see investigative journalists that go. It's like alternative news.
But then this is out there. It's out there. Google it.
I have Googled it, and it's not just, as you say, under Trump, it's 2.0. All this stuff has been going on
not like
long
this.
before.
No, not like this. No.
Yeah.
No, not like this. Because if Obama would have been doing this on his watch, I guarantee you, they'd have been trying to tar and feather him and get him out of
they
Washington
wouldn't have, because the media is very liberal. So a lot of things he done, they didn't even put it in the media.
We can't say that.
Yes, you can.
If we go all on that premise, then where are we gonna see that premise? That type of attitude toward the media. If we keep saying that about the media, then we don't want to believe the media. Then who do we believe? Donald Trump?
It's already been proven.
But who do we believe?
It's already been proven. That's why I said you go to alternative news. There's alternative sources. It's not Donald Trump.
But it's still a news source.
Exactly. So they prove a lot of stuff that CNN edited and spliced together are lies and exaggerated. And then CNN has come back several times to apologize for the lie that they told.
But you know,
so that's why they're not a trusted news source.
Independent news sources too is probably not trustworthy. If you want to pick and choose, you can't pick.
I'm just saying, you're watching actual videotape. When CNN comes out with something, investigative journalist goes out there to see if it's actually true. You have a live videotape showing you if this is taking place.
Most of these news sources like MSNBC and all those other news sources are saying the same thing. They can't be conspiring against each other. Pick up the New York, the Daily News. Pick up what's called.
You ever heard of government-funded news, corporate news?
No.
Okay, well there was a whole thing that
I'm pretty sure there is.
Came under when the NDAA was passed, that a lot of these news sources was being funded by the government. And another thing that came out, what they mad at when Trump started cutting all the pork out, and he found that, so he took out a lot of money that a lot of these news sources was getting from the government. So if every time I watch the news and they're saying something negative, I mean, ever since this man started campaigning to run for office, first it was a joke, and then once he actually got past the joke and was elected, you know, then it became something serious for them. And then it's just this whole onslaught, you know, everything is gonna always be negative, you know, in the media.
Listen, I hear what you're saying. I believe my own eyes, okay? I believe my own heart, okay? Regardless of, you know, we're our own truth factor. We can sense what is BS and what is not. When we hear it, if it don't sound like it's right, then it's not right.
Welcome back. I am Dr. Jess Meek. I wanted to give a special thanks to correspondent CG for going out into the dead zone and collecting the information that we will be reviewing today. Correspondent CG would like to apologize for not being able to gather more information, more evidence of Trump derangement syndrome due to being called away on another assignment. As you could see, the place was very noisy and subject A was very long-winded. It was hard to cut that brief encounter short. So let's dive right in, shall we? As we reviewed the information from Mr. Tony, we see that he made several claims that were unsubstantiated, but he believed them to be true. For one, he stated that Trump's father was a Klansman. We found no concluding evidence that Trump's father was a Klansman. Now, this information seems to be based on a 1927 article that was published by Boing Technologies, and it simply stated that there was a parade of 1,000 Klansmen in the borough of Queens, Jamaica, Queens to be exact, and Fred Trump happened to be one of the bystanders out there watching this parade, and a scuffle or near riot had broke out, and he was arrested with 7 other men. Now, the article did not state that he was a participant in the parade, nor did it state that he was a Klans member. It just simply stated that he was arrested in regards to the near riot that broke out during this parade. Also, Mr. Tony stated that the cages came during President Trump's administration, and we found that not to be true. The photos that surfaced was actually from 2014, which was from, the Obama administration. These children were in cages. Several photos had surfaced, and that's what we found. Now, they were published to try to disparage Trump administration in regards to his crackdown on immigration, but much to their dismay, those photos, come to find out, were from the Obama administration. We also heard that Trump's policy was the separation of families crossing the border. We found that not to be true from the border chief, Carla Provost. She said that was not the policy. The policy to crack down was to incarcerate these people as felons, you know, because before we were under a catch and release, so these people would just come in, we catch them, and then we let them go, and you know, they disappear, they don't show up for court, they're lost in the United States. We never see them or hear from them again. In regards to facts and factual information from the news, he said that you just believe what's in your heart. What you believe in your heart to be true, that's true. Your heart tells you. Well, that throws facts and evidence out the window, folks. I don't know about you, but if I was in court and I was being charged of a crime, I wouldn't want the jury to say that it's what we believe in our heart to be true. We find you guilty. No, I want evidence brought against me to prove me guilty or release me. Well, folks, that's it for this episode of The Dead Zone, Trump Derangement Syndrome. Please tune in next week for a new episode. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in to The Dead Zone. Come back each week as we explore a different case and try to bring back lost individuals from the dead zone.